Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast. I'm Nick. We got Sean and Harrison with us tonight. How we doing, fellers?
What's up, fellas?
Good. How we doing, boys?
Not too bad, not too bad. Got a lot to get to tonight. All-Star Game recap, trade deadline talk, which is going to be wild, which will go into our Rounding Third question about buyers and sellers at the deadline. We're also doing a little trivia, and we're going to try an Immaculate Grid that none of us have looked at yet. We're going to try that today. So before we get going, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Leading off real quick, we did the Home Run Derby show last Monday. It was pretty cool. We had a guest on, Craig Stevenson. He joined us for a little bit. I guess he's our show's Yankees fan. Got a little insight on what Yankees fans are talking about. But All-Star Game, to me, I watched the whole thing, first pitch to the last pitch. It was a little snoozy, not going to lie. But, I mean, Yandy Diaz went deep, and then the other Diaz for the NL hits a 2-run bomb off Felix Bautista, and that's legit the game, 3-2. I mean, pretty uneventful All-Star Game. They're typical.
I watch it like you. I mean, a lot of good pitching. There was some good defense in there. Not a lot of hitting. There's a bunch of balls that were caught like at the warning track because that park does not the ball does not carry well. But a lot of balls at the warning track. I did enjoy the segment where they had Soto mic'd up there talking to him about kind of what the Padres are doing, what's going on out there. And in the meantime, there are like 3 balls hit out to him. So you would hear him huffing and puffing and talking to himself as he's running for it. And I did find that entertaining, but the game itself was not super exciting. It was a good game, but that home run he hit late off Bautista was not a cheapie.
Yeah, the mic'd up moments, like as gimmicky as it is, I think it's awesome. I love it. There was one at bat they had Corbin Carroll against Nate Eovaldi, and they were both mic'd up, and it was pretty cool. Like, they're actually legit talking to each other while Nate's trying to blow them away. Like, it was pretty cool. Then you had the Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman mic'd up at the same time. Yep. There was some pretty cool moments about that. So I mean, just a little insight into
the energy of the game was pretty mellow. The guys were having a lot of fun. There's some stuff going on back and forth between the dugouts. Some of the guys were on the base paths and a couple nice plays. Guys tipping caps to each other. It was a fun game to watch in the sense of like you got to see some of the players, hear from the players. It looked like they're having a good time, but the game itself was not like super exciting, but they did find ways to keep you at least engaged.
I mean, it's pretty cool that a Colorado Rockies, player ends up making the biggest play of the game because we all know Colorado Rockies have been the doormat of the league for quite a while.
But they signed Chris Bryant, cool. Nick. Like, they're serious. They signed Chris Bryant.
It's true. Just so he can go there and finish his career in peace.
On the IL.
Right. But yeah, it was a pretty cool moment for Elias Diaz. It was his first All-Star game. He gets up in the 8th inning and cranks a 2-run homer to go ahead. Oh, Felix Bautista, who this dude is no slouch. He throws triple digits, got a nasty slider. And like Harrison said before we came on, like Felix let it go and immediately put his head down. He didn't even have to watch him hit it.
No, he knew as soon as he let go of it that it wasn't where he wanted it.
Yep.
Yeah, those aren't necessarily the guys you want to make mistakes to. The all-star hitters.
No, that's not a good game to make a mistake in. When you're 9 hitters, the best player on some team.
Right.
Yeah. Crazy. The one thing I did want to ask you guys, they did not wear their home or their own team jerseys. They wore the all-star jerseys itself during the game. Now in years past, they've worn the all-star jersey during like the home run derby, the festivities, but not the game. They wore, like Rushman would wear his Orioles home jersey, or Red Sox, or Kenley Jansen would be wearing his Red Sox jersey, stuff like that. But they didn't. They kind of switched it. And I don't know if they switched it this year, or Sean says he remembers kind of switching it last year.
I thought they've done it for like maybe 2 or 3 years.
And they could have. What do you think about it? Do you think they should wear their home jerseys, or
I like the regular jerseys? I like the home jerseys. Give them the all-star hats or whatever.
Yeah.
But I like the old jerseys. Like I like seeing the Rangers pitcher on the mound throw into the, I don't know, Orioles catcher. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
it's supposed to look like that. It's a whole bunch of guys from different teams that are coming together for a charity game. I mean, it's really kind of what it is now. So make it that.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, logically, if they were going to make them all wear the same uniforms, they should have done it back when the All-Star game meant something.
Right. Fair enough.
So
absolutely,
I agree. I like seeing all the different jerseys out there, all the teams represented. Although the counterpoint to Sean's argument is, if you had worn home jerseys this year, it would have been the Braves versus the Rangers. That's what it would have looked like. But I've always liked seeing all the different teams represented, and the mix and match. To Sean's point, one team's pitcher to another catcher, and that he's thrown down to somebody else's shortstop, and it's nice to see all the teams represented. But I don't hate the single uniforms. At least they still wear a hat that's got their team logo on it. But I really do miss the days of the jerseys with the patches.
Yeah. I know we kind of were talking about it a little bit last week about, adding in new festivities to All-Star Weekend with a bunt derby or hitting targets, throw accuracy. Harrison posted today on the Facebook page about a Legends home run derby, and there are legends that are actually interested in doing this. I don't know exactly what it would look like, or even if it's official, but there's talks that they could bring it as early as next year, which would be pretty cool.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
Oh my God, that would be a can't miss event. I just hope they don't put kids in the outfield again.
Dude, I think those days are done, dude. That kid got absolutely lambasted, dude. Did you see the video?
It's so bad.
His whole face is just shattered, dude.
Yeah, because he took a ball off the bat of one of the best Major League Baseball players straight to the face.
Yeah, a hundo plus exit velocity to the face.
Listen,
man, as we're watching it, we're talking about how bad an idea it is, and then that kid gets hit, and we're like, "Oh God, that's." I've
been saying it for years, man. It's like, listen, I'm not a parent, so take it for what it is. I wouldn't let my kid go out there and do that.
Nope.
There's no way in hell I'm letting my kid go out there, looking up at a fly ball, waiting for it to come down while someone's just rocketing line drives at my nose. Not happening.
No. I wouldn't go out there. That is, and that's part of that's the change of the format, like the rapid fire format. These kids aren't even set yet before the next ball's flying at them. The old days of the outs, you had to wait for the ball to come down, and there was at least a break.
Which is fine. If you're going to let kids be out there, then let's do that. Do it that way.
That was crazy.
There's no need. Listen, an out is an out. A home run is a home run. There's no need for anyone to even be out there.
Right.
There's not a need for it.
There's not. It's not like they're returning the balls back to the bucket. They've got plenty of balls up there.
There's no need. They're not shagging fly balls, right? There's no need.
Listen, guys, we only have 8 baseballs for this derby.
Yeah.
We need every single one.
When we were kids playing home run derby to Little League field, that's how it went. You had to have shaggers because you run out of balls before the round was over.
Right.
But that's not the case here. Although I do think it'd be awesome if they took one of those driving range carts and had it driving around out there like it was bonus points if you hit it.
Hell yeah, dude.
That'd be awesome.
Add that in. You're down by 10 home runs with 30 seconds left. You don't have much of a shot, but if you whack the card, it brings it even.
Right.
Hell yeah.
All for it. They could have fun with that.
Yeah. There's just so many things that they could do, and then I hope that they, at some point, kind of revamp it. It would be great, but
but I would totally watch the old timers. Hell, I'd watch them come out and hit and do a softball home run derby. I don't care what it is. Bring back some of the old timers. I'm in. I'm watching it.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the All-Star game recap. Took all of 3 minutes. And now we're going to get into the meat of the matter, which is trade deadline talk.
Uh-huh.
And the stove is hot-ish.
Depends on who you ask.
Right. A lot of rumors flying around. Let's get straight to Shohei Ohtani. I personally don't think he's going to go anywhere. The asking price for Ohtani at the deadline, you're just destroying your team's future for 2.5 months of Shohei Ohtani. My view is Ohtani the best baseball player in baseball? Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Is he gonna? Is he going to go to a team that isn't already a World Series favorite and make an impact. Like if he gets traded to the Houston Astros, like Astros still have a legit shot to get to the World Series. Does Shohei Ohtani do anything to increase that? Okay, maybe a little bit. There's very few teams that he would go to that would completely change their fortune from what it already is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it's hard for one player to. A lot of your playoff teams, I would say, are largely set. We know who a lot of the playoff teams will be. The last few that are fighting for it, those are the teams he could potentially help get over the hump. But those aren't the teams that are going to have the trade capital that's required to get him. So trading him to the Houston Astros, to your point, Nick, to make the team better? Absolutely. Are they any more of a playoff team than they already are? Probably not. Are they more of a World Series threat, though? They probably are. Like, you put them in your rotation and in the DH slot, that doesn't hurt.
Yeah. I just don't know if giving up your farm for 2.5 months of Shohei Ohtani is worth it.
Well,
I mean,
no, and I heard someone make the comment the other day of well, it's just like the Soto trade. No. The Padres got Soto for 2.5 years. They didn't get him for a half a season. They got him for 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Right.
So, you can't make that comparison. And honestly, you look at what the Nationals got from that trade. I mean, C.J. Abrams was one of the players of the week this week. Like, they got legitimate prospects for Soto. The Nationals did okay in that trade. But it was different. You were getting a guy for 2.5 seasons. The rental player, we've seen it many times. We've seen these rental player things work out great. We've also seen it be a complete disaster. And to give up all that draft capital or trade capital for 2.5 months of Shohei, you're going all in on a World Series run here if that's what you're going to do.
And I'll say this: I don't think we've certainly seen. Boy, Marcus. We've seen some of them become unmitigated disasters. We've seen some of them be knocks out of the park, to steal a baseball term. I don't think Ohtani would be a disaster.
No.
For the record. If Ohtani gets traded, wherever he goes, he will be the best player on that team for the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If I'm that team, I just don't know. And I think for all of his faults, and I don't even know if he's doing it for this purpose or not, the way that Artie Moreno is handling this, I think is only more proof that I don't think he's going anywhere. Not necessarily because he says, I'm not trading him. I don't want to be the guy that's known as trading the best player in baseball. But simply because he's giving the indication to other teams out there that he's not going to budge on the asking price. So even if teams wait until the last possible day, like, I don't see him, and I believe him when he says that, I don't see them all of a sudden, like within the last 7 days of the trade deadline, being like, all right, well, I'll just take whatever I can get and trade.
Right.
Like, I think he is very, very hard on, there is a very specific set of players and criteria that I will accept for him. And if I don't get that, I am not trading him.
Yep.
And again, I mean, would I love to have Shohei on my team? Sure. Could I justify giving up what I'm going to have to give up for 2.5 months of him and then probably not be able to re-sign him? I don't see how you can justify it.
Yep.
I mean, we're talking 5 or 6 years of your future.
Oh yeah. I mean,
you're setting yourself back to 2016.
Yeah, this is World Series or bust this year because you're going to empty the cabinets to do it.
And it could, you know what? This is one of those unique scenarios where it could be World Series and bust. Like, you can find yourself in a scenario where if you win the World Series, it's worth it, I guess. But you're still up Schitt's Creek for the next 5 or 6 years.
That was Washington Nationals.
That was exactly.
That was the Nationals.
Exactly.
The Nationals went absolutely for broke, and they won, and then imploded because they had to.
Yeah.
I mean, banners, flags fly forever, right? So, like, I wouldn't take away, or I wouldn't say World Series isn't worth it. World Series, flags fly forever, so it's worth it. But would I take, if I'm the Yankees and I got the, Jason Rodriguez and all those guys in the farm system that supposedly, are looking really good from all accounts, you're going to have to give all those guys up plus some for Shohei. Would I rather Shohei for 2 months and then an unlikely possibility of signing him? Or would I take those guys who give me an 80% altogether, 80% of the 100% that Shohei would give me, if that makes any sense? You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like, I don't know. I just you're going to have to give up a whole lot for him.
Yep.
A whole
It's
I just don't see it happen. I don't see
It's
it
like
happen.
it's like I said before. Like I would take a 65% chance I was going to make the World Series for the next 7 years versus a 95% chance I was going to make the World Series this year. I would take my chance in sustained success than a one-time deal.
Yeah, getting to the World Series is hard. Winning it's even harder. So just because you get there with him doesn't mean you're going to win it. And if that's going to be your only shot for a while,
Right.
it better be worth it because you're cashing in all your chips.
Yeah, you're all in on the flop. Is pretty much what you just don't know what those last two cards are,
and you don't know what direction that river is going to take you.
Nope. I think he
ultimately.
Reference?
I'm not a poker guy.
Yeah, it
poker?
is.
It's a poker reference. Yeah, you're
right.
pretty much in before you see the cards. Like you're
Gotcha.
all in before you see them.
Yep. Seems risky.
It seems risky. I just don't. I don't think he's going anywhere. I mean, Artie Moreno takes 2.5 more months of home games of selling out tickets for Shohei Ohtani, and I think he just lets it go to free agency.
Well, and the other interesting wrinkle in all this too is that, and I'm not sure who I heard say this yesterday, but there's also an economic angle for the Angels to keep him, and selling out seats and all that is true. But come September, when the end is near, those final Angels tickets are going to be more valuable, but the memorabilia and the merch is more valuable. People are going to be scrambling to get the last shot at getting an Ohtani Angels jersey, an Ohtani Angels bobblehead, an Ohtani Angels friggin' bottle cap opener, whatever garbage they sell in the pro shops. People are going to run for that because it might become a collector's item and they're going to want to stock up on stuff. So in sitting in Moreno's spot, I don't want to be the guy that trades with one of the best players ever like Harry Frazee did with Babe Ruth. And second to that, there's an economic benefit to having him here until the end, even if we're not going to win. So really, there's not a good reason to trade him other than getting some prospects, but Moreno's never been the kind of guy who likes prospects. That team's never really developed a lot of players.
No, they haven't. But just for the sake of the argument, I don't want to be the guy that trades away Shohei the way. What's it? Harry Frazee? Was that the guy's name?
Harry Frazee.
Traded away Babe Ruth. Yep. He traded him for like the rights to a play. I mean, you're not trading Shohei Ohtani. Yeah. Like if you trade Ohtani, you're getting back a whole lot of really damn good baseball players in return. Like it's a whole lot easier to swallow. No,
I would trade Shohei for the rights to like Hamilton any day.
I just I mean, come on.
No, you're right. It's a different kind of trade, but I get Moreno's angle, and I do think trading is going to be hard.
I think trading will be hard. I think you will have a few suitors. I think the Yankees will be one.
Sure.
Who are going to kick the tires on, hey, like let's actually think about this. Let's give it some thought. Let's try and get a deal done. Hmm. From the Angels' point of view, if I were an Angels fan, I wouldn't hate the idea. Because if I could get back 3, 4, 5 like premier caliber young prospects, or like a Volpe, for instance, type of guy who's, I don't know if he's still considered a prospect, but he's played, he's been up for the year. If I can get 3, 4, 5 of those guys in return, I can sleep well at night. I mean, that's a great return.
Yep.
So I wouldn't want to give them up on the other side of it. But if I'm the Angels, if I'm an Angel fan, I wouldn't hate that.
No, I mean, we're the guys screaming, trade Xander Bogaerts. If you're not going to sign him, trade him. I don't care. Like, you got to get something for him while you can. I mean, if I'm an Angels fan, or if I'm the general manager of the Angels, and there's a good package offered, I'm taking it, because it doesn't make sense to not, unless you actually think you're going to re-sign the guy, which, let's be honest, you're not. Then I'm taking
even then, if you are going to re-sign him, trade him, and then re-sign him. Yeah. You get all those prospects, and you get Ohtani back.
I mean, the one thing we've seen with these teams that sign these players to these mega deals is that those teams almost never win. You look at Trout, they've never won. You look at Judge, which is a bad example because he's hurt again. Look at what the Mets did with Verlander and Scherzer. When you sign these guys to these mega contracts, it just doesn't ever seem to work.
Yeah.
Like you don't ever get where you hope to get to because you tie up so much payroll in one or two players. You can't go fill all the other holes you have.
Well, what you need is you need the middle of the road players to play above average for extended periods of time. Like you need, as an example for the Red Sox, you need Kike to be 2021 playoff Kike for an entire year.
Right.
And it's not a feasible thing to
It's
ask.
not.
You can't ask guys to do that because that's not who they are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at the Mets and bad example, but you got Scherzer on the mound with, Vogelbach in the lineup. Like, why is he in a major league lineup every day?
Yeah. Well, what you're doing is you're taking a 10-game spurt and go, oh, look at what he did for those 10 games. And you're asking him to do that for 162. And he's not going to do it for 162.
Yeah, totally agree.
Bleacher Report put out their top 25 players that they think's going to move at the deadline. They said that the Red Sox and the Giants are actually going to be the top buyers at the trade deadline. Giants, I can definitely see they're in second place in the NL West. My D-backs fell to third after being swept by the Blue Jays. It was a tough series to watch. I'm actually, that's the only reason I'm watching D-backs games now is because it's the only one I'm not blacked out of. Sorry.
Yeah, Nick is blacked. Nick is blacked out on the entire East Coast and now the Central.
I moved legit a half an hour west of Raleigh, and I'm now blacked out of the Cincinnati Reds. Just blows my mind.
Most years, who cares? But this is the worst year to get blacked out.
I can't. I'm whatever. Anyways, some pitchers to.
Did you put up a for sale sign yet? Did you tell Karen you're moving back?
Yeah, I'm about to. I mean, we have the apartment till the end of July, so I might just pull up an air mattress. Anyways,
I'm gonna live there during the season, honey. I'll be back.
Yeah, exactly. Some names tied to the Red Sox, which is kind of interesting, is Blake Snell, Lucas Giolito are the two names that I've heard floated back and forth with the Red Sox.
If the Red Sox make any trades and they're not for pitchers, then somebody should find out what Chaim Bloom is smoking. They should be getting nothing but pitching. Yeah,
I mean, I tend to agree. I mean, you can shore up that middle infield too, because we don't know when Story's coming back and what he's going to be.
Yeah.
So I kind of mentioned it to Sean before we came on, kick the tires on Tim Anderson too. They're looking to deal him,
especially if you're talking to him about Giolito, right? You're saying, hey, kind of like a Michael Old, Josh Beckett situation, right?
Exactly. Like, money.
Just like what that was a bit different. I mean, Michael Old was a. They made us take Michael Old, but what I'm talking. Like if you're already talking about Giolito,
yeah, you might as well. And I would give up Arroyo and Kike and whoever else. I mean, I know that's a pipe dream. It's just
I was just going to say, they're going to ask for Marcelo Mayer and Brian Bello and Bayo and guys like that. But
I wouldn't do it if you're giving up Bayo. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
I don't think.
I mean, Marcelo Mayer's the reason you didn't sign Xander. So I mean, he's as close to untouchable as. I mean, he's the reason why you didn't sign Xander. So he's not a guy you give up for Tim Anderson.
Yeah.
Bobby Dahlback by
sure.
Bobby Dahlback for Lucas Giolito straight up. Right
straight up.
1 for 1.
I mean, Bobby Dahlback did pitch, so I mean
and he did hit that 500 and something foot homer down in Worcester, so.
And Ryan Brazier. Yeah.
Oh, you guys need bullpen help? We have just the guy for you. Ryan Brazier. Just a tip. Give him a clean inning. Don't bring him in with guys on. You'll be happy.
Yeah. Pitch him in the first inning so you get time to clean up the mess.
Yep. Paul Blackburn from the Oakland A's is also, they're thinking about moving him. Yep. Lance Lynn's also been thrown out.
I saw Josh Hader's out there. The Padres are shopping him because he's due for a contract extension and they cannot take on any more guaranteed money.
I told Sean when we first hopped on, I was like, the absolute saddest thing this year in Major League Baseball is the San Diego Padres.
It is.
I mean, the fact that they have to sell at the trade deadline and not look to add pieces to put them over the hump to get into the playoffs is an absolute travesty.
It is.
They're legit an all-star lineup, and they can't win a game. They can't win a ball game.
I've been frustrated with them all year. I've watched them a bunch. They were my World Series pick. I thought that team was so balanced and so loaded, and not a single one of them really has had a good season. It's been just, and they've not all played well at the same time either.
No,
it's just been, it's brutal. It's brutal to watch. It's bad baseball.
I really don't understand it. It's crazy. You look at that roster on paper and you're like, okay, this team's 160-2 on the season.
Yep.
And they just can't put it together. So yeah, they're looking to sell people, mostly pitching.
A couple names that popped up lately: Stroman and Bieber. Marcus Stroman from the Cubbies, Shane Bieber from the Guardians.
Talking about that. Bieber just went on the IL though.
I saw they shut him down for a couple of weeks, but that's a guy that if you get him back early to mid-August and he's healthy for 6 weeks, he's a difference maker when he's on. Yeah. Stroman's has had a great season except for the last few starts, which were horrendous. But another guy who one of those teams is looking for pitching. I would be surprised to see the Cubs sell a lot, but there's talk of Bellinger, talk of Stroman. It sounds like there is some movement likely in Chicago.
Well, they're both on 1-year deals, so it's smart for the Cubs to deal them to see what you can get back to fill.
Oh, sure.
I mean, you have a good young core there. You got Patrick Wisdom, you got Christopher Morel, you just signed Dansby Swanson,
Nico Horner.
Nuke Horner. Like you have a good young nucleus there. Why not add to it when you have 2 trade chips like that that you're probably not going to re-sign in the offseason anyways?
And that's why I could see, I hope the Red Sox go ahead and pursue some starting pitching.
Yep.
Stroman would be one for me that I would like to see because it's a strict up 2-month rental. So it wouldn't cost as much. Like you're not, the Cubs aren't going to, I mean, of course they'll ask, but the Cubs aren't going to expect Brian Bayo back, right? Like it's going to be a
player to be named later or
a proportionate type of return. That's why I would like to see something like that. I mean, what do I know? I'm sure there's talks already, but that's the kind of move I expect the Red Sox to make. I don't think they're going to make anything splashy. Unfortunately, I just don't think they will. I think it's going to be when the dust settles, if they are the buyers that they're expected to be. I think it's going to be a lot of middle, right-handed bullpen kind of guys. You can never have too many of those. I think it's going to be, maybe a couple back of the rotation kind of starters that can give you depth and eat innings and that kind of thing. I don't see them going out and nailing a Dylan Cease. I would love them to. I just don't see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I was going to say the same thing. I feel like if we learned anything from this group, it's that they're not going to go out there and sell the farm for a guy or two. They're going to go pick up the guys that are mid-tier that come cheap, that they can give up, give some lower level prospects away. They're not going to hurt anybody that's, MLB ready or soon to be.
And quite frankly, I don't want them to.
I was just going to say, and I'm okay with that.
Right. I don't want them to. And this is a team where, if you go out and just steal a whole bunch of just fantastic starting pitching, is that going to make you better? Yes. Is it going to put you in the postseason? Likely. You're not going to win a World Series with this defense. This is the worst defense I've ever seen on a baseball field. They are embarrassingly bad, and they will be the reason that you fall short. So don't blow it up for this. This isn't the team.
However, the last time the Red Sox made a big trade with the White Sox, it got us a World Series.
Did it also got us 4 years of nothing after that? But
we also thought Yohan Moncada was the next up and coming thing.
Michael Kopech and Yohan Moncada were studs.
Mm-hmm. And we traded them away for Chris Sale. He gets us a World Series. I'm not saying Dylan Cease for Marcelo Mayer would be in my cards this year, and Dylan Cease doesn't make us a World Series champion, but we have made deals with the White Sox before that have put us over.
Oh, sure. So. And I've always been, and I think I've said it on the podcast before, I've always been more on the Dave Dombrowski side of the aisle when it comes to talent that to me is better than talent that prospective talent, right? Like if in the Chris Sale, I know what I'm getting from Chris Sale. Now it sucks that he's been injured so often, but when he's been healthy, the Chris Sale that you traded for is the Chris Sale that you've got in a Boston uniform when he's been healthy.
Yeah, he's been great.
right? So Yoan Moncada didn't work out for them. Michael Kopech didn't work out for them because they were prospective talent. Like, give me proven talent over prospective talent any day of the week. So if I have the opportunity, if they're going to say, hey, you want Dylan Cease, we're going to need, I don't know, under Bayo, like, do the Sox have another big pitching prospect? I don't know. But if they do, and they say that guy, then yes, I make that move. Yep. Because you have Bayo, and if you can add Cease to that, well, yes, you have to give up another young pitcher. That sucks. But you know what you're going to get from Dylan Cease. You know what you're going to get from these guys. Like, give me the proven talent any day of the week.
Yep.
And I know,
Cardinal.
I know that you have to have some balance, though, real quick. I know you have to have balance because you can't – Dombrowski's goes all the way that way, and then you just ruin a team. You're there for 4 years, and then you ruin a team.
Yeah, the Red Sox are living it.
There has to be some balance. Right. So, I understand there has to be balance, but to me, where there's risks to take, go take them.
Yeah, I think if you've got a chance to go grab proven talent for prospective talent, there are situations where you have to make that move. There's also some where maybe you're getting proven talent that's on a bad contract in a later phase of their career in some kind of a funk where maybe you don't want to. But yeah, there's definitely value in going to get known commodities versus the unknown in the minor leagues. But there's always for every and Moncada, and we can go find 100 stories of guys that got traded that nobody thought would turn into anything, and they're Hall of Famers. So it's when you get into minor leagues and prospects, there's a big gamble there. Big friggin' gamble.
Which is why where the Red Sox are right now, I'm totally supportive of Heim. Go get as many of them as you can.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's a numbers game. The more you have, the better chance you have at hitting on a few of them. So, at this point where you are, you're rebuilding. It's no doubt you're in rebuild mode. Go get as many of those bastards as you can, and then hope a few of them hit, and then you're right back in it.
Yeah, that's the Rays model. They just load up with young talent and see what comes out of it.
Right. Go do it.
So St. Louis Cardinals are in full sell mode. They got everybody on the table.
I watched them.
Goldschmidt.
I watched them and the Pirates the other day. I have not seen two teams that are playing worse baseball than those two teams right now. The Cardinals are awful. I saw Goldschmidt boot an easy ball at first because he got lazy and dropped to a knee.
Gold Glover.
I know. Yeah. It was just a lazy play, and even you could even see how mad he was after it. That he just lackadaisically went down to a knee, and it took a hop on him, and it bounced away. And then Gorman booted one, and then Contreras threw it into the friggin' center field seats. And then, it's awful. It's awful to watch these guys play. The pitching's not good. The offense is not good. The defense is horrendous. And that's a team that was known for its defense. They have to be in full sell mode because that team has absolutely imploded. And there's no signs of life.
Yeah, we talk about too, we've talked over the past few months about how hitting is contagious, right? Like, you can't just have a lineup of a whole bunch of Aaron Judges, right? You got to have, you got to have the set the table kind of guys, right? Like, because hitting is contagious. So is errors. Like, if you just have, you got, and especially when it's your best defensive players that are making errors, it's just like, well, what else is going to go wrong? Like, you got to have a manager and you got to have leadership that's going to put an end to it. And I don't think they believe at all in their manager.
No,
it's just like, it's so obvious. Like, they don't like playing for each other. They could give a shit about playing for their manager. It's just like, whatever, man, let's just get this season over with. Trade me, get me to a contender. Like, let's just blow it all up.
And for some of these guys, like, I think they'll reach the point in the season, you look at the stands and you go, we got no friggin' chance here anyways, guys. Like, for them to get back to 500, they got to play like 750 ball the rest of the year. Like, you look at it mathematically and you're like, it can't be done. Our season is already over. So what the hell are we playing for? And I think you reach that point in the season where you just look up and go, let's just play out this string and get to the off season.
There are some rumors flying that Paul Goldschmidt could go back to Arizona, which
that'd be huge.
Pretty cool. But the other big names that are looking to move, or not looking to move, but have been rumored, is Jack Flaherty, Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah.
Two big arms. Their contract status is coming up. I wouldn't mind Jack in Boston. I wouldn't mind Montgomery in Boston. Again, it's starting pitching. I'd take either one of them. Jack Flaherty lately, since coming off his season-long injury last year, his first 4 or 5 starts were really rough.
Yes, they were.
But you could tell that he was still trying to tune it in. Like he hadn't pitched for a full calendar year. And he has the last few starts, he's actually tuned it in. He's got 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 6 and 2/3, 9 hits, no earned runs. So I mean, he's turning the page. He looks good.
That's some impressive kind of Houdiniing to give up 9 hits and 6 and 2/3 and scatter them around, no runs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, but he has the stuff to do that. It's just him finally starting to tune it in.
And what's amazing, you look at Jordan Montgomery. This guy is 6-7 with a 3.23 ERA. He's got a whip of 1.22 because he had a bit of a rough start to the season. But his last 5 starts, he's given up 6 earned runs.
Yeah,
he's been really good,
and he's probably lost all 6 games,
and yet he's lost 2 of those 5 starts.
Yeah, crazy.
Like, how? I mean, it's because the bullpen's imploded. I mean, there's so many awful stats here with this team. But here's a guy who's actually pitched way better than his record. Yep. He's gotten no support. He's had bullpens blow games. He's had the offense score nothing. As much as they haven't pitched, they've pitched at times and gotten no help. And that team just has not put it all together. They have not had a game where they scored some runs and pitched well at the same time.
Yep. Eduardo Rodriguez for the Tigers is also possibly.
I saw that name. That's intriguing.
So it's because he has 3 years remaining on his, not remaining on his contract, but he has a 3-year, he can opt out.
Yep.
So he can opt out at the end of this year, which the Tigers are probably thinking he's going to, because
why would he stay?
Right.
Going nowhere.
But I mean, is he going to find 3 years, $49 million anywhere else right now? Probably not.
No.
So if I was him, I would opt in and just, struggle and take my money. But he could be dealt. And then this name, to me, I don't know if he would obviously get to choose who he goes to, but Max Scherzer.
Yep.
He said he would waive his no trade clause a couple weeks ago. He would probably only go to contenders, I would imagine.
Although, I mean, you look at what he's done this year, I don't know that a lot of contenders are going to be like, yeah, let's run him out there. I mean, he's not been good.
He's still Max Scherzer, though.
He is. But one day, maybe Max Scherzer will return.
Okay, so I think you kind of have to look at Max and think like, hey, man, like, were you a cheater? Because, like, that whole Pine Tar thing happened, and he was over the top. Like, you know how, like, when you confront somebody and they're just, like, over the top denying it, it's like, dude, you definitely did it. Like, you're just, it's like the reaction isn't warranted for, like, he was over the top mad.
Yes, he was.
He's been awful since then.
Yeah.
Like, since then, he has been awful. And I say that tongue in cheek because I don't think he is, like, I don't think his career was made from that. I just think, the look of it is really bad. Like, it's like you've been awful since that moment. Awful.
The timing of it.
Well, it's
terrible.
It's hard too because, like, so Max Scherzer this year he's 8-3 with a 3.99 ERA. So, like, you look at his numbers and go, that's a pretty good major league starter. But this is Max Scherzer we're talking about. This is a guy who'd normally be like 10-1 with a 1.9 ERA. Like, this is not the same Max Scherzer. And you look at his starts. I mean, he gives up 5, gives up 4, gives up 0, gives up 2, gives up 2. He's not. You don't know what you're going to get night to night with him. It used to be when Max Scherzer pitched, you watched because it was going to be fun. He was going to pound the strike zone and drive hitters crazy. But he's not that guy right now. He's still pounding the zone, but he's getting hit. And he's leaving pitches over the plate, and like he's there's not the finish there used to be. The stuff's still there, and it's still Max Scherzer 100%, but he just hasn't. He doesn't have that same mentality. He's not as aggressive.
Well, he's not sharp.
Yeah, he's not sharp. And he's leaving pitches out there.
So to me, I agree. That's where I was going to go with it. It's less about the runs to me, and more about the hits and the home runs. Yeah. Right. So you look at his last 5 starts. 7 hits in 6 innings. 7 hits in 6 innings. 5 hits in 6. 6 hits in 5. And then was it last night, the Dodger game? He was really, really good. 1 hit in 7. Like, he was he looked really, really good.
He was very good.
So outside of that, he gave up 1 home run, then 2 home runs, then 2 home runs, then wait, where am I looking here? 1, 1, 3, and then 2 is what I was looking at. So 1 home run,
7 in 5 starts.
Right, 7 in 5 starts. Like, that's not Max Scherzer.
No,
Forget about the runs. It's the home runs. Even when he gives up runs, it's broken bats, it's bleeders, it's you got to tip your cap sometimes. He's just leaving pitches hard at the plate, night in and night out. So it's been tough to watch.
Yeah, and I think the
Although I'll
one
say
thing
this.
we
Go ahead.
well, I think the one thing we forget too is Max Scherzer turns 39 in like a week and a half.
Oh yeah,
Like
right.
This
he's old.
is a guy who this could be it. We don't know.
He's old.
That one hurt.
Although
Sean.
I'm going to the Mets are coming in this weekend to Boston, so I'm going Saturday afternoon, and I think if I did the math right, I think he's slated to pitch.
Nice.
So I wouldn't mind him just keeping and just shoving it to the Red Sox throat. Just right. I'm there. So just right in front, just shove it.
Let's do it.
Just up their hoops, shove it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
But like Max. So question for you guys though. So if you've got an opportunity to go get Eduardo Rodriguez or Max Scherzer, who would you go get right now?
If I'm the Red Sox, Erod.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm the same way. Like when I look at the list of pitchers, Scherzer, okay, but like there's 5 other guys I go after long before I even had a conversation about Scherzer.
I would take Scherzer over Erod, but Erod you would have to give up the last 4. That's why I would take Erod.
Cohen might, if you just take the rest of that contract, Cohen might send him.
I mean, it's a good point. I don't know.
I don't know. I think I would like Erod. We know what he is. He knows what Boston is. He's pitched here.
He's been under Cora.
But he's been under Cora. He's been his best under Cora.
Yes, he has.
It's such a familiar reunion. Mm-hmm. To me, it almost makes too much sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'd love to see the Sox make a move on that. I would be so happy.
What move do you think is the most likely move that the Red Sox make? Out of all the guys we've talked about at this deadline, which one do you think is the most likely of happening?
Some back-end starter.
Yeah, I mean, I see the Red Sox making a run at a Stroman or maybe like a Montgomery, but I don't see them going after I don't see them going after Giolito. I don't see them going after a guy like a Hader. I don't see them going after.
No.
I don't see them wanting anything to do with Lance Lynn. I don't think they're going to go after Blake Snell. I
would
think
love
it's going
Snell.
to be.
I just don't see it either.
Yeah, I don't see it either. They'd have to give up too much, and he's pitching the AL East. Like at least he's a guy who knows what it looks like. But I see them going after one of those mid-tier guys like a Stroman, something safe, Montgomery. Maybe Erod. I don't know. I think the way he left town was a little weird too. But I don't know. I think you're going to end up with 1 or 2 mid-tier pitchers, starter reliever combo, and that's probably all you're going to get.
Fair. All right.
I'd love to see them go after Shane Bieber, but I don't. I love Bieber. I just he's had a rough couple of years here injury wise, and I think his contract just about up too.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on trade deadline? I know we'll kind of sweep back around it because I threw out the question last week about buyers and sellers at the deadline, so we'll kind of come back to it a little bit.
Question for you guys. So the Red Sox have this roster crunch coming. Do we have any feeling who the odd man out might be?
Kike.
I said the same thing. I think it's got to be Kike.
It's got to be, right? I mean, who else? Okay, if it's not Kike, and let's say it's Arroyo or let's say it's Yu Chang, like whatever, they're going to have to come up with a good explanation as to why Kike is a better keep than the guy they let go.
Yep.
Right? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, does that make sense? Because
you've got to justify it.
I don't see how Kike makes it out of this.
No, I feel like he has to be the odd man out.
His biggest value or best value, however you would correctly grammatically say that, his best value for you is defensively in center field.
Yep.
And there's no way he's playing center field as long as Jarren Duran has a heartbeat.
Duran has stolen that position.
So his best value is immediately gone. Defensively, he's a liability at both second and short.
Yep.
Offensively, he's not giving you much at all.
Nope.
And when he does make errors, they are the worst timed errors of all time. it's just like we can't have that right there. You just
And the
can't
throwing
have it.
errors, always throwing errors.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's the odd man out for sure.
Gotta be.
I love Kike and the energy he brings, but I mean, you can't have a guy hitting 218, booting the ball around, survive.
Yeah.
And it's such important positions he's booting it around at too. It's like,
Yeah.
like, dude, those, like, you got to have those. You know, and it's one thing if like singles are getting through because you don't have good range, but as long as you're getting to the balls you're getting to, you're making the plays. He doesn't have good range, and the balls he gets to, he's booting half of them.
Yep, that's bad.
Yep.
And you know, and the thing is, I look at it, it's not his fault. Like, it's not his fault. He's definitely playing out of position.
No,
but
right,
and Duran has stolen center field from him. So it's not like Kike did this to himself. The Red Sox shifted things around. Duran's been ridiculous, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and he's got to be the guy that goes.
Yeah, I think if you were to get Alex Cora, Heimblum, and the boys in a room and said, hey, this doesn't go anywhere but here, what was the Kike plan? I think they probably said the plan was to start him at middle infield, and then if it was a complete disaster, you just put him back to center. Right? You put him where he's comfortable. You put him where he's good. Totally. I don't think anyone expected Duran to do this for this long, this consistent.
No.
And now it's like you can't.
Right.
You can't take him out of the lineup.
Yeah, we don't have a spot for him.
Yeah, Kike just, hey man, it's tough.
Yeah,
that's pro sports.
Player without a position.
That's pro sports.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, ask Drew Bledsoe how that worked out.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy. All right. Which was crazy. The 3 games after the All-Star break, the Cincinnati Reds, who we'll talk to probably when we talk about buyers and sellers, they scored 0 runs and had tallied less than 8 hits in a 3-game span. It was like the first time that a team has done that in like 100.
Yikes.
Which is crazy. So,
give credit to the Milwaukee pitching, though. That pitching was fantastic.
That's true.
Yeah.
They were so good. I mean, some bad at-bats, but the pitching was awesome.
Which is what we get from the Brewers. They go a week and a half where their pitching sucks, and then they get a week and a half where the pitching is unhittable. It's crazy.
And you got Yelich, who's red hot right now, and you never know what that'll fade away. And they're the most Jekyll Hyde team ever.
It's fine. I'm riding his hot right now, so it's great.
Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts.
Yep. All right, it is time for trivia time. Let's start off. We want to start off with the grid or start with Sean's questions? Let's start off with Sean's question.
All right, Sean.
You good, Nick? Did we lose you?
Let's start
for a
with
second. I just didn't know if we had you back.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
All right. So I got 2. I'll have to lead you guys through the second one because it's like I was trying to think of one that was a bit like not difficult, but like gets us thinking. And it turns out it was too much thinking. There's a lot of just kind of randomness to it. So I'll walk you through it. But the first one. So Terry Francona there's 7 managers in baseball that were former players for Terry Francona. Can you name all 7?
Jesus. 7 managers?
There's 7 current.
All right.
7 current Major League Baseball managers that played for Terry Francona.
So David Ross, Kevin Cash.
Yep.
Davey Martinez.
Nope.
No.
Oh, really? He didn't play for him? Dave Roberts.
Gabe Kapler.
Dave Roberts, yes.
Oh, Gabe Kapler. That's 4.
You guys are like a crazy obvious one you're missing.
Did David Bell?
Nope.
Mark Kotze.
Alex Cora. Mark Kotze. That's 6.
We're missing
one. So you got one more.
Skip Schumacher?
Nope. So I'll give you the 6 that you have so far. You have Cora, Kotze, Kapler, Ross, Kevin Cash, and Dave Roberts. So those are the 6 you have.
Oh, Baldelli.
Rocco Baldelli.
Yeah, duh. Rocco. Yep. Good call.
Rocco Baldelli.
That's
so
a good
one. 7. So Alex Cora, Mark Kotze, Gabe Kapler, David Ross, Rocco Baldelli, Dave Roberts, and Kevin Cash. So you add in Francona, who's still managing, and Torey Lovullo, who was his longtime bench coach. You have 9 managers.
That you talk about a coaching tree. That's pretty damn impressive.
That's
awesome.
Impressive. And you look at. I mean, Kevin Cash's team is in the thick of the playoff favorites.
Yep.
Dave Roberts' team is in the thick of it. Baldelli's team, not really, but they're right in there to win the division. I don't think
the Royals have a shot at winning the Central at this point. So it's like, I mean,
I think David Ross has done a really good job of bringing the Cubs back
Yes.
from where they were. They're on their way. Gabe Kapler has the Giants a game and a half out.
I know.
Marcotte says the A's are the A's. And then
Yeah.
Cora has the Red Sox right in the thick of it, too.
That's more of
So
like a
not
sorry,
only-
Mark, for the job you took.
Right. Not only does he have 7 guys, but 6 out of the 7
Yeah.
are at the helm of teams that are like legitimate. They're right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
and then Terry's team himself and Luvulo's team. I mean,
Right.
so it's fantastic.
Yeah, 8
You know,
out of
what his
9 people in
legacy
his
kind of
coaching
is.
tree are in the run.
It's impressive.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
And then I was going kind of down my own little like baseball nerd rabbit hole.
Love it.
And so I was looking up and I thought, oh, this would be a good one. Let's see if they know, they being you guys or listeners, if they know like the longest. So each team, and I'm just going to do the American League East. I'm not going to do the whole American League, but the American League East right now, like each team's player that has the longest hit streak, if that makes sense.
Oh, so the longest hit streak this season or ever?
Ever, like for franchise. So like the Yankees, you guys know the Yankees.
DiMaggio.
Joe DiMaggio, 56 games, right? So do you know the Red Sox?
Is it Nomar?
No, Nomar's second with 31
Oh.
games. The winner's at 34.
Ooh.
I'll give you do you want the year he did it?
Sure.
1949.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Pesky.
Nope.
That's a good guess. It wasn't Ted Williams.
Nope.
DiMaggio.
Yes, Dom DiMaggio.
Oh,
So you
geez.
got
The
Joe
other
DiMaggio with
DiMaggio.
the Yankees, Dom DiMaggio, the other DiMaggio.
That's
All
funny.
right, the Rays is 19 games because it's like the team's been around for, and I'm sure someone's going to break it this year at the rate that they're playing. But do you know who it is right now? Totally random.
Not Longoria.
No, that was that would have been a really good guess.
Aubrey Huff.
It's no one from the good Rays. It was 2009.
No,
he
from
did
the
it.
good Rays. 2009. Those are like the years of Crawford and those guys.
Yeah, he was a shortstop on that team. That
Lugo?
2009 team with not Lugo. RIP in
JJ
peace, but
Hardy.
not Lugo.
I don't
He
think
played for them?
No.
I
Who
was
knows?
gonna say.
Maybe. Maybe.
He had a 19-game hit streak against the Rays.
Yeah, everybody did back then. Shortstop in 2009.
I don't got it. No clue.
Ordonez.
No, Jason Bartlett.
Oh, I remember Bartlett. Yeah. Scrappy little
I
guy.
I never
got-
would have guessed that.
I was
though.
like,
Nope,
okay,
never.
Yeah. The Blue Jays was an interesting one because I don't think of him as a Toronto Blue Jay. He did it in, let me look up the year again. I think it was like 1993. Let me look. it
McGriff.
up. Nope. And they
Alomar?
traded him away a year after they did it. After he did it, I'm sorry. So it would have been maybe 1999.
Oh.
So it was the year he led the league in doubles. He was an all-star. And then
Delgado.
they traded him. Nope.
So the
Outfielder.
hit streak happened in 99, you said?
The hit streak happened in 99. And then in between 99 and 2000, they traded him.
Of course. That's such a Blue Jays thing.
And so they traded him to, I don't know if this is going to give it away, but I don't even think of this guy. Like when I hear him, I don't think of him as a Blue Jay. I think of him as a Dodger.
Oh, Vernon Wells?
Nope.
Yes. Sean Green.
Sean Green.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Sean Green. So Sean Green was
Yeah,
an
Mr.
all-star
Four
in
home
99.
runs.
Yep.
He was an all-star in 99.
He was great. He
28
had a
games.
lot of bombs.
So he had 28 games. That's still the Blue Jay record. All right. And then the last one is Baltimore. And this one is like a complete stab in the dark. Like if you get this on the first try, I don't know, man. Like I didn't even know he played for the Orioles.
Oh, geez. I love those. Current?
He did it. He played for the Orioles for like a year and a half.
Current
and he had a
day, or-
30-game hit streak, and it's still the fringe. No, it was like 93 maybe. I'll look that up. 93, 94. I think of him as a Red. He played most of his career in Cincinnati. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 1998. So right around when Sean Green did it.
Oh,
So
all right.
98 in Baltimore.
Red.
I think of him as a Red.
Oh,
I keep coming back to Eric Davis, but that doesn't make any sense. Is it?
It was Eric
No
Davis.
way.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, dude. I swear to God.
That's the only
Eric
name that kept
Davis.
coming to my head that did both. I'm like, is it Eric Davis?
Nice.
I didn't even know he played for Baltimore.
No, I remember after when he left Cincinnati, he went somewhere, but I'm like, did he go to Baltimore?
Yeah.
No, well, so he went Cincinnati to L.A., then to Detroit, then to
Oh,
Baltimore.
Yeah.
geez. He had a
Eric
couple stops
Davis
along
was
the way.
on like the realistic Orioles team,
Yeah.
right? They had like just the realistic Oriole emblem, not
Yeah,
the
That's
cartoon
right. The
one.
bird.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Melvin Morris.
Yeah. The Melvin Morris. Love it.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So yeah, so that's the American League. So Dom DiMaggio, Joe DiMaggio, Eric Davis for the Orioles, Sean Green in Toronto, and Jason Bartlett in Tampa Bay.
Jason Bartlett.
What an interesting,
19 games.
19.
pretty impressive. You had 2 DiMaggios. That's something.
Yeah, in one division.
Yeah. And rivals at that.
That's a good one.
That's good.
All right. We'll do more trivia next week, but we're gonna try our hand at doing the Immaculate Grid right now. Let's see what we got. All right. Texas, Houston. I mean, I have an obvious one for that.
Yeah.
That one's, I mean, we could put in Nolan Ryan. Is there anything rarer
Nelson
than
Cruz.
the Cruz?
Carlos Gomez.
Ooh, Gomez.
Carlos Gomez played for both.
Yep, let's do that one. Carlos Gomez.
2%. Look at that.
2%. Nice.
Oh, let's go. 2%. I'm on a roll.
Astros and Nationals. I don't know.
Well, I got a good one.
What do you got?
Harrison, who do you think? You have
Nelson Cruz.
Yeah, right.
He's my answer to everything.
one? I mean, probably. Ivan Rodriguez, Pudge, ended his career in Washington.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. He did.
He could have also been Houston, Texas, too.
He could have. Yep.
200K season.
There's a bunch.
There's a bunch.
yeah.
I mean, Verlander's an easy one. Nolan Ryan.
Roger Clemens.
Roy
Roger
Oswalt.
Clemens is one. There's a whole
Oh,
Roy Oswalt. I mean, there's a bunch for them.
Yeah. Who do you guys want to go with?
Go with
Go with Oswalt.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be lesser remembered. 6%. Nice.
6%?
Yeah, 6%.
Beautiful.
Texas and LA. God. Texas and LA.
Did Mitch Moreland play in LA?
Oh, I don't know about
Man.
Moreland, but a former Red Sox first baseman, Adrian Gonzalez.
Oh, Agon. Yep.
Wasn't he
That's
in
a good
Texas?
one.
Didn't he start his career there?
I think so.
He might have.
We going to go for it?
I'm not positive, so I don't. If I'm wrong, don't blame me.
Let's go for it. I mean, we could also go Adrian Beltre to be safer.
Beltre.
Oh, Adrian Beltre definitely did
Yeah,
both.
do that one.
Let's go. Want to go safe here? Yeah, 18.
What's the number?
18.
18.
All right, hold on, real quick. I got to look up Adrian Gonzalez now to make sure.
Dodgers and Nationals is either Scherzer.
Oh,
Trey
I was
Turner.
right. He did play in Texas.
You got Scherzer. You got Trey Turner.
Yeah.
You got.
Okay. Nick, do we know? Does Washington also count
As
Expos?
yes, it does.
Oh,
Pedro.
Dennis-
Pedro played
Dennis
for both.
Martinez. Pedro.
want to go Pedro?
Pedro did both. Whatever, you guys. I just wanted to. I didn't know if they. I haven't done this with Washington, so I didn't know if they
Yes, they
Counted.
counts as
We want Pedro?
Expos.
yeah. Pedro's fine.
Boom. 4%. All right.
Dennis Martinez.
Probably because people aren't making the connection to the Expos.
200K. You got
Right.
Kershaw. Probably Koufax. You got
Kershaw, Koufax,
Zach Greinke.
Greinke, yep.
Hideo Nomo.
Nomo's a good one. People probably don't remember him. Let's go Nomo. 2%.
Nice.
Ooh.
Okay. Gold Glove.
Glove in Texas. Michael Young ever win one?
I don't know, but Beltre definitely did.
Yeah, he won a bunch.
Beltre. You knew
Pudge.
who I'm laughing at too because we make fun of him all the time on this show.
Gallo.
Oh,
Joey Gallo
that's a
won one
good
in
one.
Texas.
Yeah, do Gallo.
I feel like we have to put in there more as a joke.
Yeah, Gallo.
6%.
I would say Vlad Guerrero, right? He has to have Gold Gloves in there.
Oh, because right, Expos too. I keep forgetting about that. Tim Raines.
Ryan Zimmerman.
He win Gold Gloves. Zimmerman?
Ryan Zimmerman's got a couple. Yeah. Larry Walker had one for the Expos.
Let's go, Larry Walker.
Yeah, Walker's a good one.
I like Larry. 4%.
200K. Greg Maddux.
I was going to say that's an easy one. Maddox.
Zach Greinke. I know Zach
Gold
Greinke had one. I don't know if he had it the same year.
It doesn't have to be the same year.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. I looked at the rules the other day. They
Zach
just
Greinke?
have to have had one at one time in their career.
Immaculate.
Nice 70.
That's a 70. All right, I'll take that.
Pretty good rarity score.
Good here, boys.
Nice.
So if you hit the X out, hit the X, Harrison. I want to see what percentage. What was Greinke?
18.
18. All right, so that's a good. That's good.
Yeah. So we had 2% for Cargo, 2% for Hideo, and then it was 4 for Pedro, 4 for Walker, 6 for Gallo. The 3 that hurt were Greinke at 18, Beltrade 18, and Pudge at 12.
Oh, that's all right. I'll take that any day.
I mean, I'm just impressed we completed one because this seems so hard. But really, when we got started, it wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah, once you get into
it's not that bad.
There's some though, like I'm terrible with Brewers. I'm terrible with Tampa. Like there's some teams I'm just like, I don't know any of them.
There are some teams I just haven't paid that much attention to. And like when we were growing up, a lot of the West Coast teams we never saw. Like there was no way to see them.
Right.
I have a tough time with San Diego too, to believe it or not. San Diego's a tough one for me.
Yeah.
But all right.
That was cool.
All right. Back to the rounding third question, buyers and sellers at the deadline. We have some answers. Doug says the entire AL East is buyers because every team is capable of making the playoffs.
Yep.
I also threw in, I was like, and does Ohtani get dealt? So they also answered that too. For Ohtani, it's tough. It's going to take a huge haul to get him, even as a rental. Even if it's to a team he doesn't really care for, he won't re-sign. We've already seen he is definitely willing to go to a smaller market team. So, I mean, I agree. I think the whole AL East could buy. We know the Yankees are in the market. They're always in the market.
Yankees are in a really tough spot right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Orioles get another starter, maybe another depth player and position player.
And don't look now, but Baltimore is a game out. I mean, they're knocking on the door.
They're actually ahead in the loss column. They just haven't played it. They haven't played enough games or as many games as the Rays have, which is crazy.
They played like 4 fewer games.
Yeah. Nick Fanning said the Mets are blowing it up, which I mean,
bold.
It's I don't know if it's going to be full blow up mode, but I think Cohen's ready to just start sending pieces out.
Yeah, I mean,
you spend all that money, you expect results, and when you don't, you're like, okay, bye, I'm done with you.
Well, Philadelphia came to life and pushed the Mets right into 4th place. The Mets are only 6 games ahead of Washington, who's in full rebuild mode. Mets have one of the highest payrolls in baseball. I mean, Cohen, the owner, and Cohen, the fan, are not pleased.
Yeah. And then Henry LaRose said, sellers are everyone below the Angels in the standings and everyone below Cincinnati in the standings. He's like, I think the Angels could go either way. Depends on if they can make a little progress in the next 2 series. If they do sell, I think Baltimore could be a great fit for Ohtani. They have the pieces to get him without blowing up their team.
He said Baltimore?
Yeah, for Ohtani.
Yeah, Baltimore's got nothing but young talent. Every other day they bring up some young stud. It's wild.
Yeah. I mean, that would take Jackson Holiday. Jackson Holiday would be gone.
You'd have to send him. But at the same time, tons of talent, super young, many years away. Would you unload
He's
him?
already in Double-A. He made his Double-A
did they just move him up?
Last night he made his Double-A debut.
Jesus.
I mean, get with the times, Harrison. This was 6 hours ago.
I know. My goodness, I can't believe I missed it.
Yeah, he got his first Double-A hit last night, so
Okay.
he's already moving up the ranks. Dude,
I know they were talking about maybe promoting him. I thought they decided to hold off, but
I mean, kid looks like he's 13, but he's actually 19, 20. Crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he's really good at baseball.
Yeah.
Nuts. But I think it's hard because you look around at sellers. Colorado's got nothing to sell. San Diego's going to sell. The NL West is good. St. Louis is going to sell. Pittsburgh probably isn't going to sell because, again, young team. The Cubs may dump off a couple of random parts. Washington's rebuilding. They're not going to sell. I can see the Mets selling off some spare parts, but they're not going to gut the core. So in the National League, you got maybe 3 legitimate sellers. In the AL, you probably have maybe the same, maybe 3 legitimate sellers. The White Sox, the Tigers, Kansas City's got nothing to sell. Oakland's got nothing to sell. And if the Angels or Seattle want to, part some stuff out, they could. But I don't think you've got a lot of true sellers right now. I think you've got a lot of teams that are not far enough out where they're going to stick a fork in it yet.
I think
which is, I think, what Major League Baseball wanted when they added the extra playoff game.
Totally.
It's that many more teams that are in it at this time of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. I think it's just going to be the random players that are on 1-year deal or towards the end of their deal that they can opt out of, that teams can get more talent for or younger talent for.
I mean, I can't remember the last big ticket free agent or big ticket deadline trade we've seen. After the All-Star break deadline trade.
Spit it out.
I mean, you got Machado to the Dodgers. That was a big
years
trade.
ago.
Was Turner at the deadline? Turner and Scherzer was at the deadline, right?
Were they deadline or were they off season?
I think.
No, they were to the Dodgers. They were deadline.
Yeah.
Okay, so that year the Dodgers went crazy. But other than that, have we really seen any of those really big deadline deals?
I mean, if the bar is Manny Ramirez, then we haven't seen any since Manny Ramirez.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, we really haven't. Huge free
that was crazy,
agent
man.
that.
I was in line at a wake when that broke.
Dude,
so were you at the wake going, yeah?
No, it was 90-something degrees. It was so hot. I was sweating my ass off. And I get this Manny's traded. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, I'll never forget where I was.
Do you know where I was, Sean? I was at Flag Line at Carefree, and Beth Rowe comes out and said, "We just got Manny Ramirez."
No way,
dude. Yeah, diabetes camp went nuts, dude. Everyone was cheering. It's crazy.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But diabetes
camp was lit,
dude. All the time. You have no idea.
Don't sleep on diabetes.
No, hell no, I wouldn't do that.
Oh man. All right. Yeah, I mean, do we want to put anything else on this buyer seller stuff? I mean, we've pretty much kicked it to death. It's going to be interesting.
We beat it up pretty good.
It's probably going to be one of those things where it's a lot to talk about and then nothing happens. It's probably just going to be one of those years.
Yeah, I feel like this year is setting up to be either nothing or a flurry of oddball transactions.
Yeah, which I think it's what it's going to be. Yeah. A lot of teams that are right in the thick of it, just trying to get a little bit more depth, a little bit more consistency, a little bit more, you can never have too many arms.
Oh yeah.
Right. And if you're in a position where you can pad yourself with some arms in the back of the bullpen, then you do it. And I just think that's what we're going to see. A lot of teams shoring that kind of thing up.
I would say we're going to see a lot of the Cardinals first and foremost. Cardinals are gone. I mean, there's not going to be much of that team left after the deadline. I don't think.
I feel like they're missing an opportunity if they don't go blow that up.
Yeah, they got to do something because, man, crazy. But yeah, all right, we're going to head on to other news this week. I don't have a whole bunch because it's just stuff that, it wasn't really a big news week with the All-Star break and then the series. But we talked about Trout's injury a little bit last Monday during the home run derby, but he's got a fractured hamate bone in his left hand, I believe it is. So I'm gonna say he's on the shelf for the rest of the year. They're not gonna rush him back.
Well, it's hard because you lost Trout, you lost Rendon. I mean, you lost those guys the same day.
Literally the same game. It was 2 hours apart. And then Ohtani left with that blister after giving up the 2 bombs in a row.
It was a bad day for the Angels.
Yeah, that was crazy. Might as well have just kept the training card out there on the warning track. But
what stinks for a guy like Trout is here's a freak injury. This is not his back or the random stuff he's been dealing with. The guy got hit by a pitch and messed himself up. You can't do anything about that.
He didn't even get hit by a pitch. It was a check swing.
Oh, that's right. It was a check swing. It wasn't. It was Rendon that fouled the ball off his leg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Trout with a check swing, and his hand literally just like blew apart.
Yeah.
Like,
freaking weird injury.
crazy.
But it's been the story of this guy's career the last few years. It's been it's been weird stuff after weird stuff. The back stuff, and it's a shame because we haven't seen a full year of Trout now in what feels like a long time.
I feel it's almost it's Griffey 2.0.
Yeah.
You know, like as magical as Ken Griffey was, he had a lot of injury plagued seasons too, where he could have legit probably gotten the home run crown.
Well, I think
no question in my mind.
Cincinnati were the lost years. I mean, it was knees and hammies, and it was constant.
Yep, and Mike Trout is very much the same. I mean,
yep.
It's a lot to ask these guys to go out every day, 162 games, and not get injured. I mean, we go back to like our third or fourth week, and we interviewed Jim Rowe, who was the on-field trainer for the 04 Red Sox, and he had been the on-field trainer forever.
That's a long time.
Them. And one of the things he said that I'll never forget is how much of a grind it is for these players. Like a lot of these guys come in early to get treated by Jim and his staff, and that's just to get out there to get stretching on the field. Like 162 games is a legit grind, and freak injuries like that are going to happen.
Yep.
But
yeah, so
I mean, it's just crazy.
So many of these guys are nursing injuries. You know what? Basically all the time. It's a tweak. It's a pull. It's some soreness. Like when you're playing 5 or 6 days a week for what is that, 5 or 6 months out of the year, it's a lot. I mean, granted, it's not football where you're getting hit, but these guys are. It's start stop. It's heat. I mean, these guys are. There's a lot to it, and then constantly getting on airplanes to go somewhere else in the country, and these guys don't get a lot of great night's sleep and a lot of consistency. They're always rolling. They're always nursing stuff, and Jim Rowe was funny when he's talking about it. The fact that there are guys that he counted on seeing pretty much every day in the training room, getting something done, something work done, something dealt with.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's funny you brought up Griffey, and it got me curious because you said specifically the Cincinnati years, right? So he 13 years in Seattle, 9 years in Cincinnati, obviously very, very much injury riddled in Cincinnati.
Yep.
But in Seattle, he appeared in 1,685 games, and he hit 417 home runs in Seattle. That's a home run for every 4.1 games.
All right.
Cincinnati, he appeared in 945 games, and he hit 210 home runs as a Red, which comes out to 4.4 games. So this guy, after 13 years in Seattle, was essentially on the same pace for home runs per games, home runs per appearances that he was in Seattle, and he just couldn't stay healthy. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that if he stayed healthy in Cincinnati, he is the home run king, no question in my mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely no question.
Yeah, that's a wild stat to think of, how even he really was. He just didn't get the games played.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I looked it up. 210 home runs as Cincinnati Red.
It just doesn't seem like he was there that long or hit that many.
Because it was like he was always hurt.
I mean,
which he was always hurt, but he still hit 210 home runs as a Red. That's crazy.
That's wild. Wow. Yeah. And he's still getting paid by the Reds, so good for him.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned it again last week, but Nelson Cruz was DFA'd. So 47-year-old Nelson Cruz is no longer playing for the San Diego Padres.
Do we think he lands somewhere? Like, I'm surprised there hasn't been a landing spot for him. I mean, he's that kind of veteran hitter around one of those young lineups. I don't see that being a bad thing.
No, but I don't know, man. He's 43, like legit. I think he's 43. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're go ahead.
I don't know if he moves the needle for a team.
I think you got to think of it the way I look at it too. Is if you're a GM, front office guy, whatever, and you want to have the conversation, you got to think, okay, whose at bats is he taking? Like if we're going to bring him in landing spot, he got DFA'd, he got cut. We're going to bring him in as leadership, young guys in the lineup, blah, blah, blah. Nice to have a bat in there, which it sure is. But whose at bats are he taking away from? And is that also a young player that you think could benefit more from those at bats than Nelson Cruz? And
yeah, that's fair.
I just don't know. I just think it's a conversation you have to have.
Yeah, because I took the approach of I looked at teams like, the Marlins, whose offense can be atrocious at times, or
Yeah.
Cleveland. Would they benefit from having a veteran guy coming off the bench to hit? Maybe he only plays a couple days a week, 3 days a week, but being around all those young guys, does he help make them better? But I get your point, Sean. Do you really want that guy at 43 who's there for a couple months to take at bats away from young developing players? Because if you're Cleveland, if you miss the playoffs this year, it's not the end of the world for your organization.
Right.
You've got all this young talent coming back next year.
And at the end of the day, even if we miss the postseason, those extra 250 at bats from that young player, like that's going to help you in the long run.
Yep.
I just think it has to be the perfect fit for
it's
him.
fair.
To be able to do that.
We said that we were saying that about the Reds, about the Pirates for a while. Those having the veteran guys around them. But yeah, it's tough. And then I look at what a guy like JD Martinez has done in LA. I mean, he's had one of the best seasons of his life.
Resurgence.
And he looked like he was done in Boston.
Yeah. And we said if the power numbers are bad at Fenway, they're going to be terrible at Dodger Stadium. And he's proved everyone right. He's just been a complete resurgence.
Yep. It's a totally different guy. I mean, he looks light on his feet. He's got pop in his bat again. And he's the one guy who left Boston from last year that's actually is doing well. Everybody else is struggling.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
All right. That's all I had. Do you guys have anything else to add for this week?
No, I mean, it's a relatively quiet week. I think we're going to have a lot of activity picking up here shortly, though.
Yeah. Next week and the week after what is it? We got trade deadline. Maybe I'll see when is the deadline? It's the 31st, which is what day? Is that a Saturday?
No, it's
2 weeks from today.
It's a Monday.
2 weeks from today.
Monday. And it's usually like 4:00 the deadline?
Yep.
Yeah. Middle of the day.
Okay. So we will have fresh trade deadline news on that podcast in 2 weeks, if nothing happens between now and then. But
yeah.
Like I said, I only expect pretty much the entire Cardinals team to get dealt out to somebody else, and
I think the Cardinals and the White Sox are crazy if they don't move some pieces and get some good stuff in return.
I agree,
because those teams are going nowhere.
Yeah. All right. So before we go, just make sure you like, subscribe, share our podcast. Like I said, you can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And we will see you next Monday at 8 p.m. Wicked Shop.
See you guys.